own the library. Who owns the library? Oriana. Okay. It is really wonderful to have a relationship with the writers. This is a day where you always should come for your launch of books. Don't forget to give me the copies. We can keep it forever in the future collection. I hope this relationship keeps ongoing.
Just excuse me. Sorry, Miranda, can you put yourself on mute, please?
Yeah, she was right. But anyway, welcome to the library and the European the Cadillac people, the right nation. And we all like always reply our respect to the elders past and present. And we hope that this ancient civilization that we've been here for what, 3,000 years, will continue. We might learn something. So once again, I would like you to consider the State Library as your home, and that this relationship we will continue. You know, we might change, but the route will continue. There is something that I wanted to remind you. At the back, I put a trolley and I said books to a good home. They are all in Romanian. Yeah? And the reason I've been telling you for a number of years, the Romanian collection now went online because the books were not being used. But I'm not going to get rid of the book. We're going to gift it to whoever wants to have it. That's a minimum part. I got more in the store. They're no longer in the catalog, but they're in very, very good condition. So I'm going to leave my business card there, and you take it knowing that I have more books in my secret stash. And then you remind me and say, I would like to have non-fiction, I would like to have more health, I would like to have children's books. And I make you a package. And I send it to your house at no cost. It's a gift, yeah? So we can keep it because it was an investment. So thank you very much. Let's have fun, okay? I just gotta get my cards.
Waiting everyone to be no, I can actually kill you. No. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, bună dimineața, doamnelor și domnilor, and welcome to our 9th Romanian Australian event at the State Library of New South Wales. First of all, thank you very much, State Library of New South Wales, for having us here today again, and so many times before. Thank you very much, Oriana. Yes. Yes. We are going to have a very special day today, a very busy one, as per our programs, the yellow ones. But of course, I would like to say just few things before starting our program. To refer to the reason why we are here. So, we are here because we love literature. And of course, we are here because we love art. Fernando is coming here with music again. And of course, we have Gabriel in the back with some music today. And we are here because we love artistic painting. And thank you very much, Maria, for coming. And also Lunita Cristescu from Ottawa, Canada. And Laura Chimie from Bucharest, Romania. Good, we are here because we love photography. And thank you very much, Lunita and Rita, for coming from Canberra today. And we are here because we love architecture. This is an extraordinarily beautiful building, 19th century. And we are here because we enjoy French. And we publish Australian authors, and we publish Romanian authors from all over the world, from the United States, and from Canada, and of course, from Europe and Australia. And during times, we talk about so many things. We talked about the reason in the first volume of our anthology, Pounding the Pavement. And we talked about memories in the second volume of our anthology. And we talked about soul in our third volume of the anthology, Between Dusk and Dawn. And we talked about the non-existence of time in the fourth volume of the anthology. And we talked about the non-existence of distance in 9,000 miles away last year. But today now, we are going to talk about even more. We are going to talk about love. And it is love that we stand here today, 12th of March 2022, from State Library of New South Wales, Sydney, CBD, Australia, to Romania. And it is love that we send from here to Europe. And it is love, the only thing that we accept for our short time of happiness and joy on planet Earth. Thank you. Right, so very, very busy day. I'm going to start. Let me see if I can share the first video, the presentations of all 54 collaborators, writers, published in Stay a While, the sixth volume of the anthology. Let me see how can I do this. Okay. Share. Here. The presentation is made by Gabriel Cristescu from Bucharest, Romania, and the music is composed by Gabriel Bucur in Sydney. Okay, let's see. Yes.
Well done.
Yes. Thank you very much. I would invite now the English editor, Sue Crawford, to the mic.
You want to put it back to something else other than that?
Yes, absolutely, I will. I will look myself.
Even when there is a step there, I'm still stumbling. Okay? Look, it's with very great happiness, once again, have the honour of introducing we've come to you all. Some of you know him well already, and others not so well. Luke became involved in this project when Mihaela decided to invite local Australian writers to submit work to the anthology. Not just get up there and read something as a spoken word, but to actually enter the print anthology. And we wanted someone to comment on those English works, which includes all of them, not just those written by people who can't write in Romanian. One of the delights of a bilingual anthology is that some contributors, the clever Romanian ones, can offer writing in either language. Luke Carman debuted on the Australian writing scene with a bravura, bold and elegant young man, which attracted a lot of academic labelling. I read quite a few essays about it, and to cover the borders. One of our committee members at the time said, "That's my teenage life in Western Sydney," which I think was one of the best accolades you could get. And that person is not alone in appreciating stories that reflected life's youth. Luke, himself an academic and a lecturer, essayist, editor, sent out signs between that book and the next that something was on the way, might throw a cracker into the intellectual embers of other people's ideas of what literature is and how gatekeepers function, plus the overall madness and inverted commas of writing life, and just life itself. It was called Intimate Antiquities. I'm leaving out a lot of Luke's achievements, I'm just highlighting a few. Last year, Luke was co-editor of Second City with Catriona and Vincent Pike, a collection of writing from Western Sydney. I read Luke's own contribution to this collection 3 times. It was just for the sheer delight into the intellectual robustness of the steel trap and the near poetic passion of the reader. I sometimes tell people if they want to write long sentences with lots of phrases, for heaven's sake, read Luke first, so you get it right. Luke is one of those people who is generous with time and skill, supporting, and most importantly, perhaps of all, encouraging other creations. Whether it's our on-annual competitions in West or this anthology, Luke's commentary is a piece of art in its own right. I speak on Mihaela's behalf, and also Carol's, who is unable to come today, in thanking Luke for not only today, but all the other days over the years that he has supported our writing projects. Please welcome Dr. Luke Carman.
Thank you so much. Thanks, thank you. You're always way too generous. You didn't leave anything out. In fact, I think you inflated just about everything we've done, which is really kind of you. And I want to thank Carol's well. I know Carol's not here, but thank you, Sue. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, everyone, for turning up today. Thank you so much, Mihaela, not just for putting this project together, of course, and contributing to it yourself, but for trusting me with the English portion of the anthology. There are so many writers and so much writing to get through that I just have to jump straight into it, if that's okay. It'll take me probably, I think, 10 minutes just to mention, just to give a brief mention of every English piece that's in this anthology. So I don't blame you for kind of tune out because it will take some time, but I'll try to mention everybody. If I forgot anybody, I don't think I did, but I deeply apologize. I think I got everyone who wrote in English. So the opening, I'll just start quickly with the beginning of the book. The opening epigraph of this anthology, the Romanian Australian anthology, begins with a scene. I don't know if you've looked at it already, if you've opened up your book, but it begins with a scene of a young girl lingering at the doorway of her house. Her name is Sophia, and sitting with her family in the garden is a man twice her age. He's a self-made millionaire, and he's seeking a poor but educated wife. And he wants to take his young wife with him. he has told Sophia's uncle, so that together they can arm themselves with picks and shovels and uncover the archaeological remains of Homer's Troy, which he believes that he can locate. The man believes Sophia is the perfect young woman to be his wife because she knows the great epics she's familiar with. Sophia can't decide. She stands in the doorway with uncertainty. She has to choose either to go into the garden and marry this man who's twice her age, or retreat back into the house, close the door, and remain forever. Okay, so students of narratology would recognize Sophia's dilemma. The call to adventure has reached her ears, and she stands at the threshold of her journey, and the fabulous forces of the wide world, having singled her out for whatever reason, are waiting for her to begin her adventure and her transformation into a potential self, to become part of the world instead of being a child, let's say. That's the path of the hero on their journey. It's the great adventure of our lives, calling all of us, and yet there's always another voice repeating, stay a while. And had Sophia, poor educated young woman that she is, picked up this collection we're here to launch today, she would have encountered in the first English contribution the sage advice on the subtleties of desire in Augustus Supple's Move On, where our protagonist, Rosie, is a huntress on the trail of a new home, somewhere to rest in the sweet amber hum of pleasant dreams, like an insect empress renewed inside the honeycombed warmth of a trembling hive, the worn rugs and cracked teacups and total toasters of her old life, left to gather dust of long-gone lovers. In Anne-Marie Belgian's Uncle Sully and the Baroness, there's a proud man who's like a broken Ulysses, brooding on the injustice of a life well lived. He has bedded and beaten his way to the arse end of the earth, only to find himself ensnared in the slings and arrows of community housing, until one chance encounter at a Sunday market where green-eyed Penelope pokes him in the rear with a white umbrella. In Taysen Abdullah's Maya, it begins with a voice calling outside Gloria's door. There's hollering in strangely familiar tones, and an old woman's eyes are wide and wet with tears where she finds what is standing on the other side. 4 children that are born from strangers' bodies, for whom a childless grandmother lights her candles and speaks prayers under fragile breath, weaving the Maya in the air like an invisible mandala. It's an elemental connection for Danielle Vera's Layla, who is the poor prisoner of an unfulfilled void, who hears a knocking on the glass and turns to wonder at a little girl standing outside. Amidst the passing parade of indifference, grinning a toothy smile for Layla's listless eyes, and stoking the fires of a dimming spirit reaching in from that other world beyond the boundaries of man, where each dewy dawn ripens unbounded on the earth. In Ilona Kruger's Maybe Forever, she sings the wishes with soft wings landing in rippling light, eyes of the music in their cloudy gaze, and cherubim sightings in a stranger's crowd. And after a cupful of honey, she sees the coming of impossible creatures who stamp their feet under a liturgical moon, and the wind is giving speeches, and the magic hour lingers long in endless moments. In Ludicrous by Christopher Summit, it draws the strangest out of the ordinary, all the horsepower of a 78 Lotus Esprit doing doggies in the driveway, and the driving force of his tale of workplace misadventure is a father with a vandal's heart who leaves his mark upon the lowest places and sticks one arm out the window and gives the rest of us the finger and the thumb. In Danny Draper's Open Road, there's a wanting for a driver of another kind. This one has been usurped by a plague of cancelled plans and abandoned parades, where the only traveller is an autumn breeze bringing the ghostly breath of absent friends and missing faces. There's a vision of waves breaking over empty beaches and the coquettish lips of an autumnal sun, sky blue-lipped and softly filled with anointed siren silence. In Peter Cartwright's Roads to Redemption in Driving to Mount Isa, 3 days and nights against the myth of distance, piled into a utility with enormity of baggage and photographs, staying between the lines of promises to a daughter, laughing at the darkness just outside the curtains. and hoping for a gladness soon to come, rising like the gathering babble of a river whose water breaks through winter ice. The thought of common sense causes coins to drop in C.A. Broadribb's punning fantasia. There's a magic garden where two lovers are trying to find the common ground of a shared speech, summoning up sensations and creations from spaces between the sounds and their deeper meanings. And then the question is, what words do you offer the dying? In Ana Radovich's last breath, poetry becomes a parting gift, where closed eyes and silent form soaks in the leaping waters of muddy streams, and lyricism bobs in billabongs, and the mute interior turns toward the shining sun, one unwinding heart lightening the sweet symphony of a reader's consolations. In Victoria Cartwright's Under a Tree, another poet's form of consolations take place. Here it is the shade beneath the swaying boughs that bring comfort to a wounded soul, and the limbs above us breathing out their scent in distant snow and cool rain on faraway hills, where the flowing wind and soothing shade take the spirits to a distant home. The leaves are curled in Henry Griffer's April, cruelest month, where a path cracking bracken leads a tour of dying fields, and nature blushes in its innocence, a feeble run of rain after unseasonable summer, falling like a single tear creeping down stubbled cheeks. A proof-rock conscious teacher finds the still point in Louise Loom's tale of classroom catastrophe. She reads the impolite lyricism of youth and sees beginnings in our ends, an absence pale as a dying child, clutching shape without colour, paralysed force, gesture without motion, clinging to the crossroads of death's other kingdom, its stillness cradled in her arms for brief eternity. In Ligia Kazhigian's, mispronouncing her name almost certainly, her piece is Bonnie and Clyde in Istanbul. But in that piece, you return to the Polish village with all your windows down, your Brahms out loud, you're sucking smoke and setting your specs, and some thoughts of self-immolation to suppress, that you've practiced long and wide at that, you've seen the impossible shores and prognosticated on dead poets and prophets, and though life is brief and art is long, you cannot help but stay a while inside the lingering of a song. In Mark Barusik, there sings of songs of fleeting snow. It falls with returning youth in delicate flakes of scanty form, one momentary puff of private cloud, passing fancy of fickle weather, an ordinary path of thin white colour for the ground, and yet the moment creeps higher in the memory, rising through the mental mist over mountains of experience, a flowing river roaring in its wake in the seas of vast infinity. The factory of Dorian Silescu was once the centrifuge of a universal village, around which the apartments built themselves, as if emerging from the earth, the mystic engines of industry. And the children circled round for school, awed by the sacred place of promise, a portal through which one day they might reach a future. Then comes the fall and fires and ruin, as doors and windows drop down into the wreck of a world still orbiting a barren star. There's an ominous urgency in the football diary of Moni Stanila, whose epistle begins with an inhalation of the bedsheets under flower light, and the conditional futures kicked back and forth in the present tensions, the hope of children, the loneliness of the deathbed, who one is and will ever be, all potential waivers on the white line like the arbitrary judgments of a faceless referee. We are neither ahead nor behind, always returning on the paths of time, as Melinda Smith reminds us in The Fugal State. We are beginning by degrees. Each room and doorway is a threshold soon forgotten, a setting glass that leaves behind a loop, and the trunks of trees accumulate in the endless air, with the static charge of plenipotential tingling from the storm in your fingertips. Matilda Hart's Melisande is the story of renewal in contemporary times. Where one heart breaks, the kingdom crumbles, The consolations of civilization, avocado, brunch, and Bloody Marys get swapped for empty shelves, and nights amidst the growing clutter of an unloved life. And yet, the normal joys and fears persist, and those who endure the long night come to see the blue eyes of the breaking dawn. In Cape Blundy's On Being Forced to Ride 5 Miles to Big School, there's a creation myth of sorts, where a young girl meets the nature of the air, the in-betweenness all around her, form and colour, the speech of trees, the sighing of feathers sermonizing on the wing, turning and turning in a widening heavens like the wheels by which the earth itself is steering through the cosmic web of all creation. And when we come to 125 corners in Norman Fairbank's quartets, the doors of night are shutting on the red ribbons of lunar light, are cut as sharp as celluloid edge, the despair of distance, thinning rivers of genetic flow and potholes in the pavement that loom like open graves of broken cement, hard and chipped as gritting teeth, sharp and jagged as endless grief. Assumption Pritchard supplies us with the challenge, huddling fearfully by the boardwalk, faceless in the crowd and streets and beaches, the windy cannonade of swirling sands and brutal winds, the visions of Prince Hamlet, who steps into the abyssal sea of troubles while, in short, we are afraid and almost at times a fool, but we have wept and fasted and wept and prayed, and Prince, who tenders in the tempest, turns back to us no worse for wear. But as if a magic lantern, through Thomas Thorpe's wick on the screen, we glimpse the soft blue, the soft glow of blue snow. A tricky sentence. Through the window on a stair, and silhouettes sharp on chimney roofs and fields of trees and muffled Christmas windows. One quiet little town, tiny as a snow globe held up in your hand. Maigneau's insistent anaphoric ode to Edouard Louis is a kind of manifesto for the fire of influence, where one author sets the heat beneath another, and passion, which is not always born sweetly, comes to aim the eyes of the indifferent world to look upon the injustice done to one man, one family, one village, one generation to the next, from one end of the earth to ours, here at home and far away. The year that water came for Laura Taylor begins with an empty nest in a dry riverbed. And then one morning at the parched mouth she sees the snaking trickle of far-flung floods coming into town, and soon an overflowing on the land, awash with the heralding flocks of pelicans fishing in the rushing waters, and joeys leaping on greener pastures, and fishermen reel in their flashing catches. And hairdressers and yoga teachers pop up from the watered ground, and cormorants spread their wings over the watery weir. A day that sparkles and shines in memory lasts 3 years for Lysel Herman, tucked in a tiny mountain village after the war. The Russian forces commandeer their backyard, and grandmother sews stitches in the soldiers' uniforms to make ends meet, and reward the children with sweets from commissary. And when the combatants pull up stunts for Vienna, the refugees flow behind them on the march in carts and wagons, down the meadows rich with acorns and wood for little whistles, and a mother by the fireside at night, her face glowing in the idle light. And then at last, on the far side of his journey, he become along the river with Mihaela Cristescu, where the poet, Sophia-like, stands in her indecision, speaking to the surface of a rippling consciousness. And if it weren't for some senseless bellyaches and a love of all things atomized and unrequited, we wouldn't be here today, watching poets trawl for wells, preparing time for the castles and kingdoms yet to come. So the one thing I haven't mentioned about this anthology is that every piece begins with an epigraph. I believe trying to answer what the truth of love is. It's the secret theme of this anthology, maybe not so secret. It's the theme of this anthology. So I'm just going to leave it with, I'm going to leave you and to all of you who contribute to this with some words from the late great Rob Dunn, who wrote as a very young man, 23 years of age, under a pseudonym. I believe he was writing under the pseudonym Library at the time, who said, "A work of art, like an act of love, is our one small yes in a vast surrounding no." So thank you all for lending your unique yes to these acts of love and art, whose luminous compendium ties two continents together in these rare consummations. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time.
Everybody, we're going to have our first reading bracket, and can I just remind the readers to not stand over here because they won't see you up there. So you're talking to a camera that's on the computer. I'm going to ask Mark Music, who is making his debut at this event. Please welcome Mark to the stage. And please don't read his work from the invitation. Thank you very much, Mark.
So I wrote this poem following a visit to Toomba in the Blue Mountains a couple of years ago. It was my first time ever experiencing falling snow. I'd only ever seen it on the ground once when visiting Jindabyne in November many decades ago. So it's called Fleeting Snow. I sing with joy as snow falls. First time in my nearly 60 years that I'm present in it. Photos taken as it sprinkles on me, such tiny flakes that quickly melt away. Each snow cloud such a scanty yield, but it's blown away. Eventually another cloud blows in, a similar performance. Again, the cover on the ground is thin and sparse. Scarce the markings of a pin-up poster. A scene the locals would soon forget. But never me. It will seep and creep through my mist-filled memories, my mountains mindscape, and much will stem and flow from this.
Thank you very much, Mark. And now we're going to have somebody read for our much-loved Thomas Thorpe, who cannot be here today. We had hoped he would make it, but he hasn't shown yet. So we're going to ask Rob Dunn, would he please be so kind as to read Thomas Thorpe's poetry for us. Thank you very much.
Before reading the poem, I will read the introduction to it from the author, just to provide a bit of context. Whitwick is a small, rather grey and gritty coal mine village in Leicestershire, England. One Christmas I was there when snow fell to totally transform the scene. Sometimes at dawn, love could be known through moments remembered. And this is the poem. Whitwick. And through the window on the stair, the snow-muffled village compacted beneath blue mercury glare, and the softer glow of incandescent gas, seeming so small that one hand could lift up all. Blue-tinted snow, sharp silhouetting, chimney against roof, trees against the fields, warmed by scattered cheerful windows. A halcyon picture given life by its fourth dimension, and quiet over under all.
Thank you very much, Rob. Now I'd like to invite Anashwara Cristescu to please come and read her poem, and she will be reading in Romanian, and I apologise for not pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to be part of this wonderful event. The poem I will recite today is called The Tango of Four Hearts. Tangoul inimilor. Prin vântul ce atingea cu buzele învolburate frunzele copacilor, purtând amintiri nepătate, pe o rază de lumină vie, eruptă din soare, două inimi dansau un tango în candoare. Azurul cerului se prelingea pe trupul lor, le răscolea durerea unui destin tulburător. Și uitând pentru o clipă de soarta înșelătoare, inimile se roteau în dansul vieții amăgitoare. Trecând prin valuri fulminante fără frică, se scăldau amăgite de o dragoste mirifică. Apoi pășind pe o potecă mătăsoasă, răpitoare, dansau din nou cu pansiune și splendoare. Doar vântul bântuia prin amintiri plângând și tainele bocneau neliniștite, suspinând. O stea le ilumina poteca vieții trecătoare, dar inimile dansau un tango în candoare.
Thank you very much, that was lovely. Now, could we please have Anthology to come and read her poem, and that will be the last one in this bracket. Thank you very much.
Hi, my poem's on page 118. Last breath. Not knowing what else to do, I read your poems to a dying friend. Her eyes are closed to the world now, her breaths slow. But I sense her listen to your words and what they summon. The call of the scarlet mistletoe bird, the song of the katydid crickets, the barking of owls, the whole symphony of her youth, so far from this hospice bed. I hear her hoot with joy as she leaps from your wide muddy banks, freestyles your rivers and streams. I see her drift on her back in translucent billabongs rimmed by reeds, face turned towards the sun, lost in the sweet respite of your poetry, consoled by the language of woodland, wetland and sea. Her ancient heartland sings. Thank you.
Now we know that all our friends on Zoom have a little bit problems. Thank you very much, Monica, for advising us, or Victoria, yes. Everybody on the lecture, just please stay a little bit back, just to listen very much. Yes.
Did you want to have 5-minute break so everybody takes a little coffee?
Yes, that's only 5 minutes break. We are going to have, everybody is going to have coffee. This just happens.
I'm afraid it's taking 5 minutes.
Dar am pus așa de bine că nu-i mai
Acum am
da, sigur că la ce vrei.
Foarte.
Deci vrea numărul tău de telefon sau ce vrea?
Da, ca să...
Right away. Ca să mă dai înapoi, ok?
Stau cu foaie. Scriu. Pot ce asta, nu mai vreau foaie.
Bine, zi altfel acum, că n-am... Yes, please, but you need to go on. You really need to go on. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, let's do something to relax a little bit, yes? And we invite our dear friends with music, yes? We have Fernando and Luciano. And they are going to perform for us 3 songs today, yes? Sorry? Oh, yes, I will. Thank you very much. Let's listen.
2, 2, si. Well, thanks very much for, again, having us give you some entertainment. It's been a long time, hasn't it, already? I don't know how long I've been part of this wonderful, wonderful program, wonderful events. It's so inspiring to see how it's grown, actually. And thanks to Mihaela and to the team, thank you very much for having me again. And also, give me the opportunity to also bring different artists from the community at different times in the years. It's a real honor to be here today. We've got Francisco. He's one of the Latino, I guess, singers that I admire because of the voice, and you'll see what I mean. Especially when it comes to Latin music, boleros, chachas, Cuban songs. So we're going to do a couple of songs today, and I'll let Francisco tell you about the first one. I think when I spoke to Mihaela, so your poetry and books, it's a sort of issues about love. Is that right? About love, or is that about love? Is a theme. Oh, very good theme. Okay. So we can choose that. You can dance if you like. Not for the first 2 songs because they're going to be slow ones, but maybe the other one. Walk around if you want, because we can dance now, can't we? I think. Oriana, we can dance, can't we? But yeah, love. That's great. I guess boleros usually talk about love and also about separation. And, but here we go. The first song was from Maria Teresa Vera, a great composer from Cuba, and it's called Dos Gardenias. Y dice así. Dos gardenias para ti, con las quiero decir. Y el mío. Dos gardenias para ti, que guardan todo el calor de un beso, de los besos que
jugar conmigo. Y él me dirá, y te dirá, te quiero. Pero si un amanecer las gardenias de mi amor se mueren, es porque han adivinado que tu amor me ha traicionado, porque si yo lo veo. Por el camino del sitio mío mi carretero, y en el campo bonito, porque el campo se ve, tan lindo de conocer. A caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte. Yo trabajo sin reposo para poderme casar. Yo trabajo sin reposo para poderme casar. Y si lo puedo lograr, seré un moreno dichoso. A caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte, a caballo vamos pa'l monte. Café al monte, cultiva el llano, recoge el fruto de tu sudor. Café al monte, cultiva el llano, recoge el fruto de tu sudor.
The hidden devil. Okay, so our last song, it's actually called Amándote, which is loving you. So it's by a singer-songwriter Uruguayan, we're from Uruguay, both of us, originally, and composed by Jaime Ross. Wrote this song called Loving
Algún día verás que me voy a morir. Amándote, amándote. Algún día sabrás lo que ha sido vivir. Amándote, y amándote. Algún día verás lo que ha sido vivir. Amándote, amándote. Algún día sabrás lo que ha sido vivir. Amándote, amándote, y amándote. Sí, lo verás, así que me dijo. No te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie. Y fue así que me dijo. No te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie. Algún día verás lo que ha sido vivir. Amándote, amándote, amándote. Algún día sabrás lo que ha sido vivir. Amándote, amándote, amándote. Y después sí que me dijo. No te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie, vida de amor, que dijo. No te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie, dijo. No te enamores de nadie, algún día verás, voy a morir. Amándote, amándote, amándote. Algún día sabrás que has sido vivir. Amándote, amándote, amándote. Y fácil que me dijo. No te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie, dijo. No te enamores de nadie, vida de amor. Fácil que me dijo. No te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie, no te enamores de nadie.
show.
We will. Thank you.
I don't want to ruin anything. Fine. Yeah, fine. Just have a look at the Zoom. Hello, Smaranda. And hello, Oma. And Laura Eftimie from Romania. Hello, wow, it's nice in Romania. Thank you very much for being with us, Laura. Just 1 second, I will present you. And Mr. Sebastian Doreanu from Colorado. And Victoria Cartwright. Hello, Victoria. And we have Norm Fairbairn. Hello, so very sorry you couldn't be here with us. And thank you very much, Christina. We'll go to your video. Hello. And of course, Carol Amos. Hello, Carol. And Leo Sabine. Hello. And Kate Lumley and Luminita from Melbourne. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you. Okay, so we have a lot to do. I would go with Laura Eftimie from Bucharest because it's really nice there. And I would like to tell you that I've been recently to Romania. And I met a lot of people, and I met my family, my daughter, the publishing editors, and everybody there. It was lovely, it was lovely. But there was something that I met there, and I was impressed. And I was really impressed by this kind of young love. So we are going to go now to present Laura Eftimie from Bucharest, a young artist. She's going to do this by herself. I just need to share screen. Okay, let's see.
There are a lot of emotions, and I want you to present what I am working on currently. So, as I said, I'm from Romania. I'm based in Bucharest, which is the capital. And the things that got me inspired the most are elements from nature and the buildings and the way I perceive them through time and places and cultures. So I'm going to start with the fact that I love flowers, and I'm fascinated by the way they can capture light and the colors they reflect and the phases of their evolution. So this is what I'm going to put in my paintings. Most of them are made in vases, and I get inspired the most by poppies, forget-me-not flowers, which in my country are some little blue flowers that represent remembering. I like the lilies because they have a lot to offer and their perfume is really strong, and a lot of local flowers that can be found in this country and they don't have name in English, unfortunately. I like to see flowers, I like the nature, I like everything that surrounds nature because I grew up in it, and this country has a lot of beautiful things to show as well. And other than flowers, I already mentioned that I get inspired by architecture. Well, from my country, I have a few cities that I get the most inspired by, which are Bucharest, and I like to make drawings that are from this period of time and other periods of time, because with time some places stop existing, and I think it's good to remember. Also a lot of buildings from outside our country captured my attention, like a lot from Italy, Spain, London. In art, everything has a sense and a style. It means history. So I hope that you like what I'm going to present to you, and my contacts and socials are going to be listed. So if you want to contact me, you could. Thank you again for this opportunity. Goodbye.
We talked about the anthology today, and we talked about the text and the writers, and we are still going to talk about the Romanian ones. But still there is something that connects all these 6 volumes of the anthology, and everybody was asking me who actually is Luminița Șerbonescu. Luminița Șerbonescu is an artist, and we love her very much, and she lives in Ottawa, Canada, but I didn't know more about this, and we just asked or invited Luminița Șerbonescu to tell us something more about herself. Let's see the video. I would need everybody to be silent because the voice is not so loud.
I discovered that I love art from very young, and I never stopped drawing since I was a little kid. I started painting, woodwork sculpture,
Sound is not too good.
all kinds of things.
Yes, I can't do anything, we tried.
I studied architecture, realized not really sure what I wanted to do. So I studied architecture. We had a very good art program because I know for that's one way to be artists. I graduated with a full diploma, so I'm a registered architect in Romania. I decided to move to Canada. I'm sure most people will understand that Romania was not free. It was not freedom to talk and think. So I moved to Canada, and because I had to raise my boy, in business, design business, home, I recognized I had to hire an architect. I done good. Most of the time was a lot of hard work nights. I had to stay on my desk and work all through the night. It was sometimes very, very boring, sometimes very frustrating. Learning to open never became still friends with an artist that I just wish I would have had more time to spend with my son and my sister. But we grew up really much very well read and really self-reliant. After a long time, I decided I finally organized myself better and some money, so I learned more about art. Now, I want, I can I'm starting to be recognized. I have a following, I have people that collected many of my paintings. Some of them are just the biggest ones, about 9 pieces. But there are quite a few of them. I have art in Great Britain, of course, Australia, New Zealand, and US, and of course Canada. So, why I paint is because I'm very worried about the environment and what we are doing to the environment, what damage we're doing. And a lot of this is because people don't know that they are damaging. People don't know that what we have to do is protect the environment because this planet is taking care of us, so we should take care of the planet and destroy it. What I want to do with my art is show you so you can see what's there. You can see what we're doing. You can see the beauty that we are endangering. You can see the trees that I see every day, the trees that I love more than anything. Fountain, the wells from the old country were totally lost and destroyed. The polar bears that are losing their habitat, the dragons that are real in my mind, and they show you as a child you could wish for anything and succeed in anything you want. So my art has a message. My art has a story. When you buy a piece of art, or a piece of painting when it is, you're not going to buy a cute image to go with your poster. You're going to buy something with a message that will end the story, that will be part of your family. So, art is what I am. Art is what I want. I hope that is art.
It's fine. Are we going to go with the second bracket now?
If you wish.
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. Is that all right?
Yes, yes.
Right, thank you. Now, our second bracket is going to be started off with Dorian Cristescu, who's going to read one of his own poems, or actually he's got time because they're short, but he'll probably read all of those that he has. Thank you very much, Dorian. Please come on. Thanks.
Okay, so I have some poems in this anthology in English. I cheated a little bit with this anthology because I didn't write exactly on
It seems like they don't see your face. Okay, we'll do like this.
Okay.
So you can see what they can see. Yeah, hello. So it means I said hello. Let's see what you can see. You can see.
Okay, so yeah, so maybe they are not directly about love, but yeah, that's this was my choice for this anthology. Yeah. First one is called Factory. It was told about this as if it were the only purpose in the world. The apartments were built around it. The children went to school, passing it by, rejoicing, believing that they will return to work later and there for the rest of their lives. After the 90s, the managers fired the workers, and someone came and fired vengeance. Slowly, door by door, pipe to pipe, window by window, all had to shatter. Its roofs were torn off and ruined. The surroundings blocks began to boil. It burned a few times, all of it. Now it doesn't grow anything but weeds. Only rats and stray dogs are still coming by. Late at night, however, stars float painfully above all of this, looking like the world workers waiting for the children to return to start their work. And next one, very short. Salvation. The smiles of poets are birds flying, unknowingly stopping our cries. They are the spare will of the world history, the giving up of the stars to themselves. The next one is snowdrops. Some believe the sky with endless rows of sliding walls, which can be opened and closed as much as they want. They think to have certain doors, certain partitions of whereabouts the stars can be eliminated by taking them out, then into a foreign drawer, to be at a certain distance, convenient at any time for all their feelings. However, the snowdrops laugh of all of this, pushing in the middle of the winter the thick layers of snow.
Thank you, Dorian. I'm now going to ask Danny Draper to come up and read, and Danny's doing a two-person show here. He's going to read for Norm Fairbairn, who is somewhat inconvenienced at the moment and not able to attend. He's going to read a poem of Norm's, and then he's going to read his own poem. Thank you very much. Thank you, Danny.
"125 Corners" by Norman Fairbairn. Tonight I saw the lunar door. Things slowly closed. Its thinning ribbon turned from red to crimson and gone. The centre line divides the car, running through it like the credits in a CG movie. I am 125 corners away from my grandchildren, those thinning ribbons of your DNA, where long buried mannerisms reappear, but only at certain angles. So I write this, the last chapter in both your stories, desperate to avoid driving into the pothole of emotion. One last backward glance at the unattained driveway attendant, the kind-hearted Irish beauty whose stories I've carried forward this far. 125 corners away from my grandchildren, and you, never closer than 20 years, gritting my teeth with guilt at being so undeservedly blessed. I promise I will tell your stories to trusting faces drafted from yours. I'm plotting my storyline from 125 corners away. Promise me that when the laughter rolls in chorus, when the thin ribbons of your DNA share the chicken and the current versions of your faces are smeared with coleslaw, that you will be there somewhere. Because in these years, when I've walked your path, weighed down by guilt and joy, in the same backpack had asked, where are you? I'm sure that from somewhere came the answer, just here. The only introduction I'll give this poem, if you don't know, is NRMA, the roadside service organisation, has a magazine that's called Open Road, which obviously represents freedom and what a motor car means, be it electric, hydrogen, or whatever. And so when COVID came, our magazine just sat there. We were trying to get out to do the recovery, to help, to share love with our fellow Australians, to hit the open road. But then COVID came. Open Road. Your NRMA magazine, March, April 2020. The cover entreats road trips to recovery. How you can help country towns get back on their feet. It lay neglected on the kitchen counter. Redundant at a time without peers. Plans promoting kindness usurped, supplanted by pandemic seed. From the front door to endless west, a longing beckoning perspective. Down Derby Street to Woodville Road, flicked by less incessant traffic. Stay home each dire message drums, earnest social contract implores. Promising post-pandemic freedom, uncertain of what that means. Lockdown and social distancing, blessed to be sharing it with you. Others totally alone in isolation, may be lucky to make it through. It's Anzac Day with no parades, minimal dawn services, many cancelled. This year's attendance is at front fences. Some old comrades will not meet again. The house is open to autumnal breeze, to autumn breeze. How far it's travelled, one can only guess. Through homes and lungs of absent friends and touched faces and hands of family. Rustled new green shoots in burnt forests, lingered as ghosts at empty lookouts, over vistas absent of ways of man, teeming with life, exploring with no fear. Open roads closed at invisible borders. No individual can recall such a time, ancestral days of the Spanish flu, and death and disruption without war. Waves crash into deserted beaches. Birds breach empty 1914 skies. Fields sieve time into crop-sprung soil. Sacred country anointed in silence. That sky autumnal, sun-lit blue, soft and sensual, inviting elopement. Abide with me in this time of need. Metal of inviolable unison hearts prevail. The future is our unseen open road. Fear its pavement to despair. Courage courses folks in selfless service. Soon again we'll journey from sacrifice.
We are very honored to have the Romanian works presentation sent by Victoria, by the state of Victoria, from our dear friend Cristina Sabino. Hello Cristina, let's see if you are here. Yes, hello. Can you please unmute yourself? Thank you very much. Right, thank you for presenting our work. We are going to see straight away your video. Can you just salute us from your place?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm right here.
Everybody is doing like this. And you have a beautiful painting as a background. Where is it?
So it's a Romanian Athenaeum in Bucharest. Yes.
And yeah, it's very beautiful, and it was actually built in 1888, which is very, very close to the building we are in now in State Library, the 19th century. Yes.
Thank you. It's a very special place, yes.
Yes, it is. Everybody is invited in Romania to see that particular place and to listen to a very great concert. Thank you very much, Cristina. We are going to go now with your video. Can you please unmute yourself, or should I do this? Thank you. Thank you.
When I received the hard copy of the anthology, the title gave me pause. Stay a while. So I did, as I immersed myself in Luminița Șerbanescu's opening artwork, Finding the Silver Lining. On the opposite page, an excerpt from one of my favorite books, The Greek Treasure, Library of NSW. The excerpt is a cogent and subtle introduction that gives the readers a taste of what they might expect in this Romanian English anthology, edited by Mihaela, Cristescu and Sue Crawford. It is a powerful collection of poetry and prose featuring 54 authors. I feel privileged to launch the works of the 26 authors published in Romania. I will be using Luminița's beautiful artwork throughout my presentation as the canvas for the sound of my words. This way, my words can rest, at least for a while, in the same evocative visual space inhabited by all the other words in this anthology. I'm an avid reader of literature, and I'm also a translator. Like reading, translation can make one feel like flying, taking a journey of discovery in tandem with somebody else's thoughts, perceptions, experiences at speed, while controlling myriad of details. And to borrow some of the Romanian words from the anthology, and for the purposes of this presentation only translate them into English, când zbor mai sunt spaina adâncului de sub mine. When I fly, I no longer feel the anguish in the abyss beneath me. Because I am a translator, I sometimes find it difficult to read only for pleasure, and my fellow translators tell me I'm not alone. Translation is a magnet. I am perpetually fascinated by words, sounds and image, languages, and the transfer of meaning. I search incessantly for the meaning behind the meaning. And that is only natural, as such deep meaning inhabited our souls from young beginnings, sprung from something ancient and timeless that stayed, as history will tell us, for a long while in all that is and still becoming humanity, through image, perețipitați, silence, ștergarele în jurul icoanelor, fragrance, incense, and holiness, pușuioc, vânză curată, mere și ceară, and through the feeling of friendship and safety. That holds true irrespective of the language in which we, all those who have arrived here, at the end of the past and the beginning of the millennia, feel, think, and speak. And our words, this anthology's words, reverberate across language and culture, bringing Australia and Romania even closer. As I took myself out of the translation space and I approached the anthology as a reader, I discovered a new universe where love, spirituality, innocence, and hope come together as key themes, as focal points that resonate with every moment of our existence. The themes are aptly captured, not just in the literary treasures materializing on each page of the anthology, but also in little snippets of wistfulness that accompany them and set the reader's expectations. I felt the urge to stay a while and quietly ponder on such reflections before searching deeper for new meanings and mysterious adventures. And so I enter the space of love and hope, where I am lost and then found again in feelings that come adrift. I am intrigued by the soul-bearing confessions and the tortuous anatomy of love. I stay a while to uncover, piece by piece, bone by bone, striking love stories that offer glimpses of the poet's most intimate inner universe, the organic connection with nature, the advancements and waste of modernity, and the primordial return to selves, consumed by life, by love, and yet somehow ready for a rebirth. Sometimes love and hope take a holy meaning. I stay a while to remind myself that we stand together as one in solidarity, sharing humbling and sobering reflections on the challenges our beautiful planet is facing, occasionally painting a foreboding sense of quiet despair. I stay a while to explore love and spirituality through the lens of childlike joy, as the colors of innocence gently fade away and come back to life in endless simplicity. I cross the threshold of childhood memories in a house where painted walls are imbued with stories of the past and with the shadows of those who have passed yet are forever present. An encounter of spirituality and love is the surprising tale of the guardian angel in the storage room. I would guess that it resonates with the innocent child in each and every one of us. It most definitely marks a return to my own childhood as I see myself again in my parents' home, a curious child trying to unravel the mysteries behind the doors of the storage room, in the hallway, in the boxes full of decorations, sitting on the top shelf, and patiently waiting for the next Christmas Eve to be taken down and cherished. There is more to it, and I stay a while to embrace the power of prayer in the solemn moments as I am reminded of the true meaning of Christmas. There are many moments when poetry feels like prose and prose reads like a poetic adventure. The narrative of love, innocence, spirituality, and hope lends itself remarkably well to this genre crossover. Stay a While is an ambitious bilingual project that Mihaela, Cristescu, and Sue Crawford achieved with superlative grace and wisdom. I reluctantly part with this literary gem, craving for more and looking forward to their next project.
Thank you very much, Christina. And now I think that we need a little bit more setting because we are going to present Mihaela and her work. So we need the lights down if possible. Yeah. This one?
I think they're on the wall.
I don't want to touch something that is not correct.
Oh, let me mess it up. Right, downstage, downlight. Do we want this stage now?
Yeah, the screen to be in dark.
It's trying to do. No, I think they're much already. No, it's not happening. I can call back later.
Is it far? We can.
Let's say downstage. No, the lights are not responding to the management.
Is it all right, Maria? Just switch on.
Do you want me to call back?
Do you want Maria or somebody else to check the lights?
We could do something else before.
Yeah, we'll do something else. We'll go to Colorado and to Mr. Sebastian Moreno. Hello. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, everyone, and I hope you have a beautiful evening here in Colorado and a day there, basically on the side of the world. And I enjoy so far, listen everyone, and I want to congratulate Mihaela for wonderful and coffee so far.
Thank you very much for being with us. We received your video presentation, and it's going to be now on the main screen here. How is the weather in Colorado now?
Very cold right now. We have 7 degrees Fahrenheit, kind of minus 40 Celsius. And we had snow yesterday. It's typical winter because the winter started here in December, January, till March or April. So I envy you because you have the summer right there.
Yes, almost autumn. We started in autumn.
Oh, it's almost autumn.
Yes. Yes. If Romania is spring, now we have autumn here. Yes. Thank you very much for being with us. I will try now to share the video. Yeah, thank you.
Hello from Colorado. First of all, I want to thank you for the invitation to say a few words at this time. The launch of the 6th volume of the Romanian Australian Anthology, Contemporary Poetry and Prose, edited by the Romanian writer Mihaela Cristescu, far away from her country of birth, Mihaela Cristescu created a bridge between Australia and Romania. Between those two countries, one in which she lives today with her family, and the other one in which her memories are still alive. And what is the strongest bridge ever built if not a bridge of words? 182 writers, poets and prose writers, worked together on the construction of this bridge, decorated with the wonderful works of art by the painter Liza Șerpănescu and 5 volumes published in the last years, to which a new volume is added today to the collection. Lately, the Bridge of Words has united Australia with the United States, especially with Colorado. I had the privilege to present these 5 extraordinary volumes at the Mihaela Literary Circle, and Mihaela is always well received at our meetings. In fact, and I'm glad to say that, we consider her a member of our circle, and we hope to have her always with us in the future. On my part, and that of my colleague Simona Sergei, as directors of the Mihaela Literary Circle, we wish to congratulate Mihaela Cristescu, Sue Crawford, and all the writers involved for this extraordinary achievement and I worked on the publishing of the 6th volume of the Anthology. These volumes are a proof of beauty that writers around the world discover every day. If anything could make our lives better, it will be the books. As the Romans, the ancestors of Romanian used to say, Libris Manent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Colorado. And now we have lights off. Good. So we go to our friend, Maria Constantinescu, and I'm going to read something about Maria first, and then we are going to see the video. Maria Constantinescu is an Australian artist based in Sydney, New South Wales. Her work investigates different modalities in which information about the universe and related theories of the sublime are translated into contemporary works of art as a continuum of an artistic tradition nascent in the 18th century Romanticism. Very suitable for today. Let's see.
are going to read, I am going to put you into a bracket. She said, yes, we can, if there's time. I said, yes, there will be time. Mihaela is going to read the poem.
Thank you very much. It's a very short poem, and the title will be The Prophet and the Glass of Wine. We met him in a bar in Paris, where village music was accompanying the smoke and the liquor, and absolute strangers developed a love at first sight for us. He recommended red wine and, surprisingly, started to address me by my name. Old man, sharp face, light blue eyes, talking about forethinking and pleasure, laws and circumstances, trust and beauty. Old, kind man with low, foggy voice, advising the terror of friendship, all the sentiments of fame and the art of believing.
Thank you very much, Mihaela. Now we shall invite Lara Taylor to come up and present Rowarana 2020, the year of the book, and this is an excerpt. And I'll hand you over to Lara.
I don't know if you know Rowarana. It's a small country town, about 9 hours northwest of Sydney in the outback. We started the year with a dry riverbed, undrinkable water and starving wildlife. On the morning of February the 16th, the riverbed was bone dry. Something had urged me to the weir that day, and as I got there, I noticed trickles coming down the fishway. Recent flooding in Queensland and northern New South Wales meant that water was tumbling down the river systems, and we in Rowarana had been waiting for a while for it to reach us. At that point, we still hadn't had much rain. By the end of that day, the river was full, snaking its way now up to Burke and beyond. The town cheered. A few days later, flocks of pelicans arrived, and a few weeks later, we finally received much needed rain. And over the weeks that followed, along with much of Queensland and New South Wales, we received quite a bit of it. Much of the landscape is green again. The transformation has been exquisite to watch. Unbelievable, almost. I can't write this joy. Awakened by Mr. Elephant the cockerel, he had a sore throat. I meandered up to the weir and walked past to the fish traps. Cockatoos, cormorants, pelicans, egrets, baby egrets, ground parrots, willy wagtails, and I don't know if it's because of the breeze, but they duck and they dive, and they fly upstream and crash land and float downstream with the current, only to fly upstream and do it again. Only on occasion does the camera do this multi-dimensional picture justice. Pelicans seem to be sleeping and stretching, and at one point, a large flock of egrets and cormorants fills the sky above the weir. Others stand in the current, awaiting a fish. I disturb ground parrots, and their dashing colour disappears into the trees. A whistling kite settles onto a branch, too far away to capture.
Thank you very much, Lara. Our next reader was to be Victoria Cartwright, but like quite a few people, she was unable to attend, and we asked Augusta Supple to please read for her. Thank you, Augusta.
Victoria Cartwright says, love is crossing an ocean and settling in a very different land, living where it's a day ahead and knowing that you're not alone in the flashing blue eyes of your beloved, under a tree. I would prefer to sit under a tree, the soothing shade easy on the eyes, to smell the beguiling scent of pine that reminds me of rain and soft snow in faraway mountains. The boughs swaying in the flowing wind, lending comfort to a wounded soul. Yes, I would prefer to sit under a tree and be transported to my other home.
Thank you very much, Augusta. Now I'd like to ask Dorian Cristescu to come back to the microphone for our last reading, and he is reading for Romanian colleague, Lina Chinali.
So I'm reading a poet actually from the Republic of Moldova. She's writing Romanian. She did first in Chișinău, now in Cluj, Western Romania. Her name is Lena Chilavi. This is first from her first volume. I think she is very promising young poet. I will read the opinion, okay? So, un pulover tras peste trupul șuvuit. Nu poate lipi cioburile de sticlă sudată cât am fost singură. M-am trântit într-un trup care nu mi-aparține. Stația secretului este stația Perzaniei. Când ai vrut să adorm, m-am lipit de dragul tău. Când ai murit, ai ajuns în liniaritate cu plămânii, atacați de gaz portocaliu. Când m-ai strigat, ți-am curat căldura corpului și am plecat. Să fii cu cineva și să trăiesc că va dura o veșnicie de o prostie umană care nu dispare niciodată. În lumea asta nu e loc pentru cei ca mine, care se plâng și se oftică și se zbat. Am stat și am ascultat poezie și am întrebat de ciudă. În bucătăria de la subsol, unde m-ai adus în seara trecută, dar pe lume este loc pentru cei ca tine, frumoși și deștepți și cu capul mare, care știu ce fac azi și unde se duc mâine. Dar spune-mi unde este locul meu în capul tău. Nu te-am atins și deja am ars. Nu te-am sărutat și deja am vărsat salivă. M-am spălat pe cap 2 ori, m-am parfumat să nu miroși abandonul și disperarea și m-am ferit din cale pentru că în lumea asta nu e loc pentru cei ca mine, castrați, dar îndrăgostiți de ceea ce nu fac.
Should I stop here or?
Yes, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. So thank you very much all the leaders today for being here. It's been a hard year, 2021 and 2022, with all these COVID situations, flooding, war near Romania and all of the sort. So it's extraordinary that we are here today. And I invited again Fernando to come with us and to play with us, play for us again, because we have today with us Mihaela from Canberra, and we are going to share her work, but her work needing a little bit of music as a background. So Fernando will accompany the beautiful photographs of Mihaela. Let me share it.
You're up. The next song is going to be from Cuban national poet José Martí. And I hope you like it, enjoy it, and sing with us. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Y aunque de golpe quiero echar los versos del alma. Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Mi verso es de verde claro y de un carmín encendido. Mi verso es un verde claro y de un carmín encendido. Mi verso es un cielo herido que busca en el monte amparo. Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Esta noche no te acuestes a dormir sin comer un mucho de maní. Cuando la tarde es una tristeza, caserita de mi corazón, el manicero llora su pregón. Y si la niña escucha su cantar, llama desde su balcón. Y una rosa blanca, destino como un enero. Y una rosa blanca, destino como un enero. Para el acto sincero que me da su mano blanca. Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera.
Thank you. We are going to go on to see the beautiful images of the Mihaela, but we are also preparing the end of the event with the raffle. So everybody got the tickets? Yes? Yes. And of course I will invite Carmen on the stage to help us with the raffle, please. And I need somebody else, which would be Augusta. Okay. Let's see. Lumita, do you have the images? Lumita, do you have the images? You have printed the images? Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. We have some. No, it's fine. It's fine. Well, I need the presents. Oh my goodness. Where are the presents? I'm just trying to find the presents. Oh. Yeah, somebody.
Did they get left up somewhere else? What about those?
No, I'm sorry.
It's not those?
No. Well, we can make them loose.
So that's not it?
No, it's not in that bag. No. I'm sorry, I can't find them. Somebody took them. Okay, well.
Are they in that box there?
Oh yes, they are. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I have them also. Yeah. I think that there are 8.
Do we have last minute raffle tickets?
What do you need?
Robert, that's okay. We're something to do.
I think that there are 8, so we are going to have 4 orange and 4 The first one is Lucky Orange F85. And now Black E19. Hooray!
Right, don't take that. Double.
And I've got another one which is Orange Ticket F81. Yay!
Hey, well done.
And we have Black Ticket E27. So an early arriver, E27, Black Ticket. That's so I'm going to draw another Black Ticket. Thank you for your donation, which is E22. Black. Yes, Black. E22.
Hey, congratulations. It's a lucky big place.
And orange number F84. Okay. Excellent. Photographer extraordinaire. Excellent.
No, that's okay. You can check it.
And I have a black ticket here, which is E20.
E20. Hey, well done.
Now the last of the orange tickets, ladies and gents, goes to very lucky F80. I'll pass it on to them. Okay, I'm redrawing, thank you very much, for very lucky number F. It's an orange ticket, F75. F75. Oh,
Danny.
Danny. Excellent.
It was Don.
Thank you. Thank you.
My calculation, there's one left. Is that right? Oh, lucky last. Lucky last. It's going to be a black ticket, ladies and gents, which is E21.
Hey, brilliant. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations. There you go.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we will take happened on Facebook. We were live on Facebook. And also thank you very much for everyone on Zoom today. We are going to meet everyone next year. Hopefully everything will be fine, much better than this year. 2023 at the State Library of New South Wales. Thank you very much, Diana. Thank you.
And one last thing, we had 3 cheers in Mihaela, who was just fantastic. Well, they even brought
We are going to stop now to transmit live on Facebook and also on Zoom. Everything that you've seen today, videos on the main stream, all of them are going to be put on Code Mixing Poetry YouTube account, so you can visit them. Thank you.